Tonight, RCMP arrests a man after a dangerous person alert was triggered. The province calls on Ottawa to send wildfire resources. And how much impact are Trump's tariffs having on Saskatchewan?
Live from our studios in Regina, this is CTV News.
Good evening. Cell phones were lighting up early this morning with a concerning dangerous person alert from the Saskatchewan RCMP. But as Jacob Carr tells us, the alert didn't last long as RCMP were able to locate the suspect quickly and make an arrest.
On Thursday morning, the Saskatchewan RCMP issued a dangerous person alert for the Musqueam First Nation and surrounding area. 28-year-old Elijah Albert was said to be armed with a rifle, and residents in the immediate area were told to seek shelter. Preceding the alert at 2 a.m. Thursday, Punachai RCMP responded to a report of an armed individual at a house on the First Nation. As officers arrived, a gun was fired and an officer was hit. The officer was transported to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The armed assailant then fled the house on foot, after which RCMP monitored the situation and assessed whether a dangerous person alert was required.
I would just like to thank the public for their understanding in our issuing of the emergency alert. 6:30 in the morning, some people are still sleeping, and I understand that can be intrusive. We do take that incredibly seriously, but we have to balance the safety of the public with that intrusion. When the alert went out, it was reported Albert was seen heading into the bush around Musqueam First Nation, possibly on foot or on a quad. At 8:50 a.m., Saskatchewan RCMP's critical response team located Albert near Lestock and took him into custody. The dangerous person alert was cancelled. Investigators have thanked the public for their assistance in the matter. The investigation is still ongoing. Jacob Carr, CTV News, Regina.
The federal government has answered the call and is sending resources to help with the wildfires in northern Saskatchewan hours after the province asked for help. As Keenan Sorokon tells us, evacuees and a Saskatchewan NDP are now wondering why it took so long to make that call.
Help is on the way for firefighters battling the 15 out-of-control wildfires burning in northern Saskatchewan. The federal Minister of Emergency Management and Community Resilience answered a request late Wednesday afternoon from the provincial government for 300 firefighters and a number of helicopters.
The resources that we have trained in the province have appeared to have been maxed out, and we are still in a need to get more due to the fire situation.
Nearly 24 firefighters from New Brunswick have already landed, and another 41 from Quebec are on the way. Pritchard says the rest will arrive by Saturday. For weeks, officials and politicians said military help wasn't needed because Ottawa didn't have what Saskatchewan needed, despite Manitoba calling for help nearly 2 months ago.
There's never been not a requirement or a need to use the federal assistance. It really is around right resources at the right time.
The news release yesterday came out on July 23rd. There's no reason in my mind and in my belief that this shouldn't have said May 23rd.
McPhail says leaders up north were calling for help back then, and even if it was denied, a request should have been made. Pritchard says the fires have always dictated the call for help, and the flames were simply too hot and dangerous. But progress in recent weeks now allows firefighters to be moved around, and help is needed.
It is really unfortunate, and it really is sad to see the divisive messaging that is going out right now.
Incoming firefighters will help control or extinguish smaller fires in 2 different areas. So far, a request for sprinklers, hoses, and water haulers hasn't been answered. An estimated 1.8 million hectares have burned this wildfire season, which is roughly the size of Fiji. Keenan Sorokon, CTV News, Saskatoon.
An evacuation has been issued for the resort subdivision of Ramsey Bay and the Ramsey Bay campground. The order was issued shortly after 3 o'clock this afternoon by Northern Municipal Services and Saskatchewan Ministry of Parks, Culture and Sport due to the fast-moving bull wildfire threatening the community. Anyone who can self-evacuate was asked to use Highway 2 and register through the Saskatchewan Public Safety Agency. People who need accommodations are asked to go to the Days Inn in Prince Albert. Saskatoon and Regina are experiencing the smokiest wildfire season on record. Environment Canada says Saskatoon has recorded 183 hours of smoke this year, the highest number at this point in any year. Regina also setting new records. We're at 185 smoke hours recorded so far in 2025. Now, with wildfire season still ongoing, the smoke hours are expected to keep climbing.
And although for the next couple of days we're expecting some relief, some winds more so from the south to keep that smoke further north in the province, it's still a risk as we head through the rest of the summer. We have had very dry conditions in the region.
So how are smoke hours calculated? It is when visibility is reduced to less than 9 kilometers due to the smoke, and the records go back to 1953. Joins us for our first look at weather, and kind of like the Charlie Sheen character in the movie Major League, you're bringing the heat, at least tomorrow.
Wild thing. Yeah, well, I'm not bringing the heat, but the heat is arriving tomorrow, Lee. We're going to see some very warm temperatures into the 30s, but feeling closer to the 40s, especially when we're taking a look at Regina, Saskatoon. So central southern Saskatchewan, definitely seeing that heat arrive tomorrow. Now, won't be sticking around for long. We will see those temperatures come back to seasonal like they were today. We didn't see much in terms of active weather. Just about an hour or so ago, we did see some of those severe thunderstorm watches go into effect for further north as that system is coming from Alberta. But much of central southern Saskatchewan remains to be pretty quiet as we head into this evening, and the temperatures even right now are still quite warm, actually hitting 30 in the Maple Creek area, 27 currently in Regina, 27 also in Saskatoon, and that's going to continue as we head into tomorrow. Now, the average, as I have mentioned before, is about 26 degrees this time of year. We are still seeing those temperatures rise right now, warming up to about 27 degrees this hour in the Regina area. Not quite close to the 36 degrees we saw this day last year, but we will be getting into the 30s tomorrow, and I'll have all those details coming up in your full forecast. Lee?
All right, thank you, Sabine. There is now evidence that Trump's tariffs may be having an impact on the Saskatchewan economy. Statistics Canada reports that Saskatchewan merchandise exports to the United States were down 9.4% during the first 5 months of this year. Several sectors of the economy may have been impacted. Wayne Mantika has more.
Energy company Saskatchewan exports to the U.S. are down significantly so far this year, and experts suspect that Trump tariffs are playing a role.
You know, the concern is obviously that is this a permanent fixture? Is this something that's occurring because of the trade tariffs? And, you know, it would seem likely that's the case, but it'll take more months to, definitively prove exactly what's happening.
The Statistics Canada report points to several sectors of the Saskatchewan economy that are being hardest hit.
When you look at the components of it, a part of it is to do with potash and uranium. So the trade is down at the start of the year here compared to last year. Same goes for agricultural products. That's part and parcel of it. The one that might be most distressing from my perspective is a lot of our manufacturing products, that we've been shipping to the United States, it's down quite significantly. It's between 20 and 30%.
Exports to other countries are up 6% so far this year, so efforts at market diversification appear to be working. The province also points to other positive economic indicators, like the lowest unemployment rate in Canada and creation of 20,000 additional jobs over the past year. The NDP opposition believes the province cannot ease pressure on the U.S.
Mo put American booze back on liquor store shelves 3 days before steel tariffs doubled, despite what these job losses will mean for Evraz. He abandoned his promise to end contracts with American companies after failing to provide evidence of canceling a single one.
Trump tariffs change frequently, and negotiations toward a trade agreement continue. Experts say it could take until September to determine whether lower Saskatchewan exports to the U.S. will be an ongoing situation. Wayne Mantika, CTV News, Regina.
Well, this week, Scott Moe attended a premier's meeting in Ontario where discussions focused on the trade war with the United States. But other issues were brought up, and that includes a national Pharmacare plan that remains unsigned by several provinces, including Saskatchewan. Brittany Poitras has more.
Even though the federal Pharmacare Act was passed back in October, Saskatchewan is one of several provinces and territories that have yet to sign on. The federally funded act expands public coverage to include contraceptives and some diabetes treatments at no cost to patients. Glenn Thibault lives with diabetes and knows that some Canadians have trouble accessing essential medicines.
If one more person doesn't have to ration their insulin, or if one more person who didn't get insulin can now get access to it, that's absolutely a good thing, and we should be celebrating that.
According to policy expert Stephen Staples, Saskatchewan could receive just under $200 million over the course of 4 years if they sign on now.
If a provincial system is so good, why wouldn't they accept the funding to achieve the same goals from the federal government? Why would they decide to use provincial money for it when federal money is available and sitting on the table? That doesn't make sense to me.
In an emailed statement to CTV News, the province's Ministry of Health says it will continue to engage constructively with the federal government on its funding commitment and specific drugs proposed for coverage, for Saskatchewan to understand if the federal government's proposal will enhance the scope of existing drug plan benefits. Meanwhile, Health Canada says the federal government will be there to discuss with its provincial and territorial partners to see how it can support them for better health outcomes for Canadians. Brittany Poitras, CTV News, Regina.
Researchers at Vito in Saskatoon are busy trying to safeguard the public against the next disease outbreak. As John Flatters tells us, they're using bats to try and unlock a missing piece of the puzzle.
Get on the cover of.
Scientists have long been using animals as inspiration to fight disease. Antibiotics from bacteria, infection-fighting immune molecules studied in fruit flies, so it's not strange that researchers at Vito are studying bats to try and prevent the next disease outbreak.
Our goal is to understand how bats can coexist with these viruses. Bats don't get sick like us as humans. So we want to identify what is it about the bat immune system and take that knowledge and develop that into therapeutics for humans.
His team have recently published 3 articles for journals that Banerjee says is a pandemic playbook. One looked at the One Health response to the Nipah virus in Southeast Asia and its effective management through surveillance and warning systems. Another identified a gene called GBP1 that might help bats mount a faster antibody response than humans.
I think what we'd like to do is identify more genes. We're not done yet. There's a whole list of genes we're looking at, and those studies are going to come out soon. So it's probably a collection of responses that happen in a living bat that allows it to coexist with these viruses.
Evolutionary biologist Dan Riskin says there are a lot of ways that bats are very different from us. Finding the genes in one of hundreds of bat species that actually matter when it comes to immune response is important.
We need to be thinking outside the box, and bats are definitely outside the box. And so the fact that this team can look at the DNA of bats for solutions to the human problem is it's just beyond brilliant.
He says bats have evolved over 50 million years, and there's nearly 1,500 species now.
Understanding the immune systems of bats and understanding the evolution of bats and how they protect themselves is a big solution for understanding how we can protect ourselves.
Using the findings with the GBP1 gene, Banerjee says his team's vision is to develop a treatment or vaccine within the next 15 years.
What we could do is make modification in humanized proteins, which can then potentially become therapeutics or even potential vaccines. But our study is largely leaning towards therapeutic development.
John Flatters, CTV News, Saskatoon.
As the music world mourns the loss of an icon, many are reflecting on the times they shared during Ozzy Osbourne's 5-decade-long career. Some of those connections are closer to home than one might imagine. In the summer of 1981, the Regina-based band Queen City Kids performed as an opening act for the Prince of Darkness during his first solo concert tour dubbed Blizzard of Oz. Jeff Germain served as the drummer for the Queen City Kids.
Talent. And so Ozzy was almost untouchable, though, for us. We were like starstruck by these guys, just to the point of you hardly wanted to even talk to them. It was just that humbling. But it was magnificent to see him at work and having fun.
Jermaine and the rest of the QCK share the stage with Osborne for a total of 6 shows over 8 nights, spanning from Winnipeg to Montreal. You can read more about our conversation with him on our website. Still ahead, 5 former Canadian World Junior hockey players are found not guilty of sexual assault. And a wrestling icon, Hulk Hogan, passes away. After months of testimony and time to ponder her decision, an Ontario Superior Court justice found 5 former Canadian World Junior hockey players not guilty of sexual assault. CTV's Adrian Gabriel has more on a drama that played out in a packed courtroom.
The pressure-packed culmination of a historic 8-week criminal trial.
Definitely been emotional for everybody involved.
With the defendants arriving for decision day inside, the proceedings began with a recap of the evidence brought before the courts. Justice Maria Caracia opened by proclaiming that she didn't find the evidence of EM, the complainant, to be either credible or reliable.
There were videos that were put to her. There was testimony of other hockey players. She was heavily cross-examined on that to raise some doubt about her credibility.
During a brief break in today's proceedings before the verdicts were even delivered, the accused hockey players were seen smiling and hugging their lawyers and family members in the courtroom. While delivering her verdicts, Justice Caracia told the court that where EM had gaps in her memory, she filled them with assumptions. Going on to share that EM testified that while at Jack's Bar in London, Ontario, it was the players who bought her drinks all night, though video evidence shows EM purchasing multiple beverages herself. Previously, EM told the courts that on the night of June 18, 2018, she'd arrived at a downtown hotel with Michael McLeod, where they had consensual sex. Afterwards, McLeod then sent this text message to teammates asking who wants to be in a, quote, three-way. Multiple teammates arrived at room 209. EM alleged that she was, quote, manipulated and intimidated into remaining inside this hotel room. Though in her findings, Justice Caracia shared that she couldn't find any of the players guilty of sexual assault beyond a reasonable doubt. Former World Junior Team Canada captain Dylan Dubé and teammates Cal Foote, Carter Hart, Michael McLeod, and Alex Fermenton have each been found not guilty of sexual assault. McLeod has also been found not guilty of being party to the offense.
We heard protesters scream for justice today. Has justice been served?
Yes, I think that's what everybody wants. Everybody wants to see justice served here, and Justice Caracia has done a thorough and careful analysis and delivered a just verdict, and so that's what we've seen here today.
As part of her reasons for her decision, Justice Caracia also added that she was satisfied that EM encouraged the men inside that hotel room to take part in the sexual acts and even became upset when they declined her invitation. Adrian Gabriel, CTV News, London, Ontario.
Efforts continue tonight to reach 3 workers that are trapped underground at a mine in northwestern British Columbia.
They're going to attach cameras and lights to the drones so that when they go in, they can get a visual of how the workers are. And they can attach stuff like lightweight stuff like notes or markers so that there can be communication.
A remote-controlled scoop is also being used in a rescue effort at the Red Chris mine. The men became trapped on Tuesday after 2 rock falls. They are stuck behind a pile of debris 20 to 30 meters long and 7 to 8 meters high. The men are in a refuge area with enough air, food, and water for an extended stay, but the second collapse cut off their communication. The mine's co-owners say they work for a drilling company and are from BC, Ontario, and Manitoba. It's been an ever-shifting goalpost for a Canadian-U.S. trade deal. The latest to weigh in again is Pete Hoekstra again, the U.S. ambassador to Canada, suggesting a framework for a deal may not happen by August 1st, but within the following 2 to 6 weeks. CTV's Abigail Bimman has the latest.
Dominic LeBlanc wrapped up Washington meetings, including with Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, for now.
We're going to continue to work towards the August 1st deadline. We're going to be back here again next week. But all of these deadlines are with the understanding that we'll take the time necessary to get the best deal.
While this Republican senator is less optimistic about the timing.
I wish that I could say it feels good that this is all going to be taken care of before the 1st of August, but I'm not sensing that.
Still, Canada is stressing there's progress, the ambassador pointing to the Prime Minister's announcement targeting cheap foreign steel imports.
The measures that Canada has taken on steel, in particular, against anti-circumvention, are some of the strongest in the world, and that has been recognized and very much appreciated. So we're making some positive progress.
They say they're hurt and they were insulted, and it's kind of like, well, it's not a whole lot of people or countries that we've asked to become the 51st state that I can remember.
Meanwhile, we're hearing more from U.S. Ambassador to Canada, Pete Hoekstra. CTV News obtained the full video of his comments at a summit where he made headlines for this.
Well, there are reasons why the president and some of his team refer to Canada as being mean and nasty to deal with.
He also weighed in on that August 1st deadline.
Whether it's August 1, I don't see it extending a lot past that. I'd be surprised if we were still talking about it on September 1.
Ambassador Hoekstra also said he's optimistic about the future, but there needs to be more advocates for the Canada-U.S. relationship. From his position, 90 days into the job, he says there aren't any. As he put it, there are political parties saying elbows up and relative quiet from the business community. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
A Liberal bill to fast-track infrastructure development was front and center as the Prime Minister met with Indigenous leaders in the Northwest Territories today.
I want to be clear up front that the Act fully respects treaty rights, including modern treaties.
Mark Carney provided strong assurances to the Inuit Crown Partnership Committee about the One Canadian Economy Act. Carney says the government will create a major projects office and an Indigenous Advisory Council to consult on plans. A Nunavut resident who has worked in local Inuit governments and has been appointed Canada's Arctic ambassador. Virginia Mearns will oversee Ottawa's $35 million foreign policy for the region that was introduced last December. Canada is seeking deeper ties with circumpolar nations at a time of rising security concerns. She is tasked with advancing our polar interests in multilateral forums and engaging with counterparts in Arctic and non-Arctic states. Saying peace is possible, France has decided to recognize a Palestinian state. Emmanuel Macron says he will formalize the decision at the UN's General Assembly in September. The French president added that he hopes it will bring peace to the region. France is the first major Western power to recognize a Palestinian state. It joins more than 140 other countries, including more than a dozen in Europe. France is co-hosting a conference at the UN next week about a two-state solution. Well, back in the 1980s, Hulk Hogan was more than a pro wrestler. He was considered an American hero. His popularity and feats of strength propelled him into movies and commercials. Today, Hulkamaniacs are mourning his death as he passed away in Florida at the age of 71. CTV's Jean-Pierre Boschman looks back on his life and legacy.
Hulk Hogan's legacy is tied to wrestling, of course, but ever the performer. He also took his trademark horseshoe mustache and bandanas to the music world and to TV and movie screens.
The ultimate male versus the ultimate meatball.
Including in Rocky III, that propelled him to stardom. Hogan was born Terry Jean Bolea in Georgia, the son of a construction worker and a dance teacher. He built that massive physique and earned his stage name. As fellow wrestlers commented, he was bigger than Lou Ferrigno, who played Hulk on TV.
Look at this!
He then slammed his way to the very top of worldwide wrestling stardom. At his peak, defeating Andre the Giant with a body slam. He often leaned into the ring persona of a flag-waving, heroic All-American.
Eat your vitamins. Be true to yourself, true to your country. Be a real American.
Though he also later played a villain, as both he had fans around the globe, including Montreal, where in 1997, Jacques Rougeau became the only Canadian wrestler to land a win against Hogan.
The greatest of all times, Hulk Hogan. And I love you, Hulk.
Rougeau last saw his friend 6 months ago as they signed championship belts.
He signed it in my name. He says, "You're the only one who beat me in Canada." He says, "You deserve this belt."
Hogan was admired by many, but faced several controversies. In 1994, he was forced to admit in court to years of steroid use and later to apologize for a racist rant caught on video. Through it all, though, his superstardom in and out of the ring remained embedded in pop culture. Hogan died at the age of 71 of cardiac arrest. Geneviève Beauchemin, CTV News, Montreal.
Coming up, visiting a research center focused on crops and farming in Saskatchewan.
back, we're going to take a look at your forecast heading into tonight and what's to come for the weekend. And it's a lot of heat. Actually, people are taking advantage of the beautiful temperatures we're seeing right now out on Wascana Lake. A lot of people enjoying the water there. Temperature currently sitting at 26 degrees. Ooh, about 15 minutes ago it was 27, so it's slowly starting to come down, but it's not going to be feeling as cool as what we did actually wake up to this morning. It felt like, I think it was about 7-8 degrees first thing this morning in the Regina area, so won't be cooling to that as we head into this evening. And taking a look at the radar satellite, not a whole lot of activity happening for central southern Saskatchewan, but we do have some activity happening primarily in the northwest. We do have a system coming through from Alberta, which is why we are seeing some severe thunderstorm watches issued for that area. Now, the rain that is expected to come through the north could see anywhere between 10 to 15 millimeters of rain. Slight chance with the very warm temperatures we see tomorrow, we could, in Regina and many other parts of the province, especially in southern central Saskatchewan, could see a risk of thunderstorm in the afternoon. But as of right now, it is looking like we're going to see mostly clear conditions. Again, a little chance of some storm activity possibly coming through the Lloydminster area and even into the Prince Albert area. But if we keep looking at what's to come for central southern Saskatchewan, mostly clear conditions, at least for Friday. And then we can see by Friday evening some of that weather coming through, in particular around the Kindersley area, rain, possibly storm activity, then reaching into Swift Current overnight Friday into Saturday morning. Will also come through the Regina area first thing in the morning, well, late at night, Friday night into Saturday morning, and then also passing through the Yorkton area before your Saturday gets started. So we will see some scattered precipitation as well in parts around the Swift Current Assiniboia area by Saturday evening, and then there is a possibility of some storm activity coming through the southwest by Saturday night, even clipping through the Assiniboia area, but largely looking like staying in the Maple Creek Swift Current area before we see more rain come through. Regina will see it Sunday morning. We'll see it more in the Parkland area and even possibly into the Swift Current and up in the Saskatoon area. A system that will clear out before, again, your Sunday, for most, gets started. But let's talk about what's to come heading into tomorrow. Again, the average is about 26 degrees. We will see a lot of those temperatures as we get into central southern Saskatchewan really start to climb. 27 Saskatoon, 33 and sunny in Yorkton tomorrow. The southwest also sitting in the 30s with nothing but sunshine. And very warm tonight as well. 17 for Maple Creek, 16 for Moose Jaw Swift Current. And over in the southeast, 34 expected for Weyburn tomorrow, 33 for Assiniboia and Estevan. And for Regina tonight, 15 is the expected low. And into tomorrow, warming up to 31 degrees. That 31 by the daytime high, which is usually in the afternoon, late afternoon, will feel closer to about 37, 38 degrees. And yes, tomorrow is game day as the Riders take on Edmonton. Kickoff expected around 7 o'clock, about plus 27, but we'll still be feeling about 31 degrees at 7 o'clock on a Friday night. So a beautiful night for football. Saturday, 26 and sunny. Sunday, we could see a little bit of that precipitation as we saw on the tracker come through in the morning. 24 is the expected daytime high. We will see the temperature drop a little on Monday, mostly cloudy, 22 degrees. And then continuing into the rest of the work week, we'll see those temperatures gradually climb back up to the average into the mid-20s, and nothing but sunshine expected for the rest of the week. So just a reminder, if you are heading to the game, you can take some water with you as long as it's a sealed bottle, because you want to make sure you're being hydrated, because tomorrow's going to be a very, very warm day, especially if you are heading to Mosaic Stadium, because it is Christmas in July.
Yeah, it's going to be quite the warm day if you have to wear an elf costume.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. Listen, I commit. I commit to the bit. I've agreed. I have my costume. And it's warm, so I'm not, we'll see how things
All right, go. Well, hopefully you're not sweating too much on the sidelines. Thank you very much. You bet. Well, according to the province's crop report, last weekend's rainstorms came just in time for some producers, while for others, it's too little too late. Crop development varies from region to region, but overall has leveled out to normal after a quick start due to those hot, dry conditions. Topsoil moisture has improved province-wide, with 73% of cropland topsoil moisture considered adequate or higher. It's about 61% for that same quality for hayland, 59% for pasture land. The rain did delay haying operations, although only 20% is still standing, with a majority of the quality considered good or fair. Well, a group of producers had a bit of a field day near Yorkton. As Regina de Kloot tells us, they had a chance to find out more about Yorkton's very own chickpea patch.
Behind the blooming canola fields of Saskatchewan are not just long hours spent farming, but thinking about crops.
And so most of the research is, differences in fertility or pest control methods, that sort of thing.
This research farm near Yorkton is hosting a field day, allowing participants to step into the field with the East Central Research Foundation and Suncrest College.
We being East Central Research Foundation, we're part of the AgriArm network of research sites across Saskatchewan, and we cooperate on a lot of different research projects.
Hall says they do miniature farming on a smaller scale to conduct crop production research and extension activities for the ag industry.
So we've got chickpeas, we've got intercropping with flax, we've got flax trials, pea trials, we're trying soybeans again.
The findings help farmers be more diligent about their crops.
Sometimes the best learning experience is the one that fails for farmers because they don't need to be talked into doing something that won't work in their area. And so sometimes the negative results in a research farm are the best information we can get.
Visitors spend the morning touring the field and learning about ongoing research.
I think it's wonderful because then it gives education along with, community spirit and stuff like that. It helps. Education for the farmers, for the staff, for everybody.
Planting seeds of innovation to yield bountiful harvests for the years to come. Regina de Kloot, CTV News, Yorkton.
Still to come, Cody Fajardo gets the start for Edmonton, his first start at Mosaic Stadium since leaving the Riders.
Wardrobe consideration in part by Colin O'Brien Men's Shop.
The last time Cody Fajardo took a snap against the Rough Riders defense, he was running short yardage plays for the BC Lions back in 2018. 7 years later, Fajardo will get his first start against Saskatchewan with the Elks, 2.5 years after he left Riderville. Donovan Mace has the details.
The Saskatchewan Rough Rider defense now knows which quarterback they will be facing off against Friday night against Edmonton.
Fajardo, deep shot, laying one out there. Giddens goes back to it and he's got it.
Cody Fajardo.
It doesn't change anything. Like you just said, we were preparing for both. We understood that, coming off a bye week, changes usually are made on different teams.
This is a system I think Cody will feel comfortable in.
The former Rider quarterback will make his first start against Saskatchewan since not being re-signed by the club at the end of the 2022 season.
And this will go down, Rod, I think, as the best throw Cody Fajardo has made in the 21 season so far.
Fajardo played 3 seasons with the Green and White, leading the team to 2 West Division finals, but never a Grey Cup appearance.
Fajardo is over off the upright dead ball, and the Bombers have won the Western Final.
Current Rider QB Trevor Harris says Fajardo was one of the first to reach out to him after he signed with Saskatchewan.
We kind of talked about, playing against one another and him coming back to Mosaic, and I never really thought it would be me being here and him in Edmonton, and how it's happened, but here we are.
Now, while loved by Rider faithful, Mace hopes fans can get into the head of Fajardo.
How badly do you want the fans to give it to Cody like they used to Henrik Burris as a member of the Stampede?
Yeah, no, see, I can speak to that. I was there for those. Yeah, please, bring your Christmas hats. Be the Grinch. Let's do that. We want as much noise as possible.
Still, Mace and his defense remain ready for backup Trey Ford to enter the ball game, as the two pivots have split game snaps for the Elks in various situations this season. Donovan Mace, CTV News, Regina.
Camp is just around the corner for the WHL's Regina Pats. Today they made a small deal with Seattle.
Pats come to the left side. They score. A broken play, and Cameron Kuzma will pull the Pats to within 1.
Pats sending 17-year-old forward Cameron Kuzma to the Thunderbirds for a third-round pick in next year's draft. Selected in the 3rd round by the Pats in 2023, the St. Albert product had 4 goals and 19 points in 55 games for Regina. Still to come, the Supreme Court of Canada won't hear a legal case involving an emoji.
let's take a look at your rural forecast heading into tomorrow. Many areas we're going to see getting into the 30-degree range, as you can see, already for the Hudson Bay Wynyard area tomorrow. And on top of that, the humidex value will be a little warmer than that. So many of these temperatures, we will be feeling more like we're in the mid-30s. So let's take a look at what we can expect. Of course, there is a chance for some active weather in the form of risk of thunderstorm for areas like Watrous, 27 tomorrow. Melfort, mainly sunny, 27. Spiritwood, 23. And a little bit more cloud cover for Meadow Lake, Lloydminster, but we'll still be seeing those temperatures within a couple degrees of what our average is. But warmer down at Outlook, 28 degrees, and Hudson Bay, 31. Wynyard, mainly sunny, and 30 degrees. The closer we get to the southern border, the more 30s we will be seeing. 34 for Coronach, 32 for Broadview, Carlisle, and Rockglen. 33 expected for Assiniboia, and 31 degrees for Maple Creek, while Leader and Rosetown, mainly sunny, and 27 degrees. If we take a closer look at Kerr Robert, which is about 440 kilometers northwest of Regina, a little cooler, 23 degrees, mainly sunny, but the 23 will be feeling closer to about 27 degrees for the day. Risk of thunderstorm in the late afternoon, and also expect a little bit of rain by tomorrow evening.
The Supreme Court of Canada won't be hearing a legal case surrounding an emoji. An application by farmer Chris Octor has been dismissed by the Court of Appeal of Saskatchewan. The appeal court upheld that a thumbs-up emoji, formerly legally binding deal between Octor and a grain buyer. In 2021, a text contract was sent to Octor for a delivery of flax, and the response was a thumbs-up emoji. The product was not delivered, and Octor was taken to court. The Supreme Court says costs are to be sent to the grain company. About 1 year ago, a third of the town of Jasper was destroyed by a catastrophic wildfire. The community is still recovering, but as Miriam Valdez-Carletti tells us, one bright spot is that tourists are eager to return.
Alpine Village Cabin Resort is rebuilding its legacy, one log cabin at a time. Last year's wildfire destroyed 25 of its 56 cabins and surrounding property.
There's been a lot of change. It was devastating to lose half of our property.
Co-owners Rena and Chris Allen say it's meant a 65% drop in their income. Why, 1 year later, they're overjoyed to open their doors to tourists again.
They've been bringing us chocolates and baking and flowers and everything, and we've had many, many hugs.
The property is fully booked, but because of their losses, they consider it half full.
A lot of people were quite sad, quite upset because they had lost their favorite cabin that they'd been returning to.
Tourists embracing the different but still picturesque landscape.
I visited here in 2010. A lot has changed, but it's great to be back here to see just how beautiful it is.
In terms of the views, it's still incredible. It's so amazing to be here, right?
Parks Canada says tourism in the national park was down 2% in May and June from last year. In May, there was 187,000 visitors, down from 194,000 last year. In June, there were 231,000 visitors, down from 240,000. April, however, actually had a boost in visitors compared to last year.
People have coming back. Town is busy. The park is busy. But there's always space for people to come and visit. We're actively inviting people to come and enjoy Jasper this summer.
The Jasper Wildfire Complex burned more than 32,000 hectares, leaving 25% of campgrounds in the park closed for the year. With campgrounds already in high demand, they're fully booked this summer.
The occupancy rates are pretty good. So I don't know that we could fit many more people in the destination.
With a third of the town site destroyed, Tourism Jasper says there's 20% less places to stay for visitors.
Hotel occupancy has been running around 96%, which is really, really good. It's very hard to get higher than that.
Steady income, that's crucial for businesses.
We're not going to have any insurance help through the winter, so this will really just be, we're going to have to make as much money as we can, keep our margins tight.
With summer in full swing, many tourists aren't letting the damaged landscape deter them from visiting the iconic mountain destination. Some tourists are even making it a priority to come back to Jasper after the wildfire.
I was on the train almost here from Vancouver, and we had to turn around in the middle of the night because of the fire and go back to Vancouver, and they sent us home. So we're trying again this year.
The post-fire landscape, a lesson in nature for tourists.
It provides an opportunity to see natural processes and the regeneration of the park and the ecosystem.
The island's helping that process along on their property.
Back in September, my son arranged with some friends of his who were tree planters to plant 10,000 small native seedlings.
They've steadily grown, sprouting hope. Like nature, this business can return to its former glory. In Jasper, Miriam Valdez-Carletti, CTV News.
Stock market's going down today. The TSX dropped by 44 points. The Dow Jones by 199 points. Canadian dollar, it dropped a little more than 0.2 cents to 73.31 cents U.S. Commodity front, gold down $18.61. West Texas Intermediate crude up 78 cents, while Western Canadian Select crude down a penny. And gas of Regina, commonly found at most places, not all, for $1.30.9 per liter.
There. Toronto's composite stock index slipped today, weighed down in part by giant miner Teck Resources. Teck cut its 2025 copper production forecast to as low as 470,000 tons, mainly due to glitches at the company's gigantic Quebrada Blanca mine in Chile. But there was good news for Canada's mining sector. Teck will keep digging up copper at its Highland Valley mine in BC until 2046, adding about 18 years of life to the mine to feed growing demand for the red metal. And finally, shares in Loblaw rose almost 5% after second quarter profit per share jumped 12%. The company's big presence in discount food retailing has won it market share, and its pharmacy operations also thrived. The shares are up more than 30% in the past year, but they have slipped from a record high in early June as investors moved into riskier stocks and cut back on the so-called defensive companies that sell staples. Those are your business headlines. I'm Andrew Bell of BNN Bloomberg.
Coming up tonight after the newscast, a couple of big bangs. Then we got Good Cop, Bad Cop, The Rookie. Big bang. And then E-Talk, and you've got your national and local news. In the United Kingdom, a rare snow leopard cub has been born as part of a conservation effort to save the endangered species.
Yeah, the cub is the first of its kind to be born at the Chester Zoo in its 94-year history.
Oops.
Video from the zoo's den cameras showed the 6-week-old and its mother playing and dozing off in the enclosure. The cub's parents were carefully matched together last year as part of the International Conservation Breeding Program.
I think they used Hinge.
The cub's birth follows the opening of the zoo's Himalayan habitat in May 2024. It boasts a vast rocky environment intended to recreate the mountainous terrain of Central Asia. They do look cool, though. I wouldn't.
Yeah, they're wonderful creatures.
I wouldn't mind one as a little pet.
Wait, no, they're not pets.
Well, I know, but how cute. Okay, look. Right?
Made it. Yeah.
Oh, and back out.
Could watch that for hours.
Well, the official, oh no. I feel like you might have set me up. The official trailer dropped today for the next movie in the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise.
There's no way that'll work.
This is the original.
The series, based on a video game, tells the story of a gaming arcade with animal mascots that come alive at night to hug humans, Sabine. They hug the humans.
Why are we doing this? Why?
She's going to be first in line.
No.